A few months ago, I began working on a small project that would quickly bloom into my largest game yet. To put it short, it's a fantasy turn-based RPG with a heavy focus on exploring and conquering a series of hostile, twisting, and dark caves. I really wanted to capture that feeling of getting lost in a Kingsfield or an early Souls game, wondering until you discover new areas only have to run back to safety after running low on resources or getting overwhelmed. As such, there's a heavy focus on resource management and spell creation that I believe will tie well with the turn-based combat. Right now, I'm in the process of creating my first demo, and thought I'd share the mechanics and current progress of Deathcaver's trade. On top of the admittedly very Atlas-inspired style, the battle system hinges on timing and understanding each enemy and their respective AI. While basic movements like attacking and guarding happen immediately, spells first require you to charge up a certain amount of what I call pressurization points for lore reasons. Performing a spell with more points leads to stronger results, however for every point you choose to gain, you delay the party member's turn. As you'd imagine, this has to be used carefully with the understanding of your enemies. Fully charging a spell amplifies it by 5 times, but you also have to be careful of this as it has a chance to blow up in your party member's face. Examining each enemy tells you the likely habits of their AI as well as their weaknesses. Using this, you can equip the right sorts of spells, pressurize for a safe or risky amount of time, and counter their own spells and moves. These exclamation marks also inform the player that this enemy will be finished charging their spells next turn. Deathcaver's trade has no conventional items besides what are essentially mana potions, and so healing and buffing has to be done entirely through the spell system and creation, which I'll talk about further in a little bit. I intend for spell equipping to be available during combat, allowing for a player to easily switch their party's loadout for different battle encounters. I really hope that with further enemy and spell types, this system can start to feel almost tactical, requiring the player to carefully consider their spell choice, enemy stats, and manage their turn delays. I want to add a couple more features to this, such as giving downed party members a time window in which they can be revived, and also adding an evasion boost equivalent to guarding. The other side of the combat system is the spell creation system that I've been working on. Spells, or tanks, in this game work entirely based off of buffs and debuffs, with there currently being no direct damage dealers, although I am intending on adding some form of healing buffs. This means that the spell creation is dependent on finding each buff type in the overworld and using them to differing effects. For instance, to create a tank that gives the party member its equipped on a divine damage buff, I can first select the tank I want to use, which will give me my maximum feel alongside any equipment modifiers. I can then select the divine damage effect itself, followed by the blade, which determines whether this effect will be positive or negative. The self nozzle then determines that this tank will target just the member it's equipped to, and finally the filter gives the power to pressure point ratio. I plan on having parts which can allow players to opt for lower damage but less consuming tanks, or vice versa. I'd also love having tanks which can give max power with 1 pressurization point, but for a full tank's costs, and things alongside those lines. After creating the tank, I can then go to my inventory and equip it to the party member I want. While it still needs some more work, I'm pretty happy with this inventory system. Unfortunately though, while my 3D art is getting better, I still have no clue with 2D art, and so all of my UI is from an asset pack. It's really good, but I think some custom icons will be great in the future. Luckily, I do have a really good friend who's an amazing artist who can give me some help with this. The final core pillar of the game is the world itself. So far, I've developed just this demo area, designed to house each environment type that I think will be in the full game so that I can test and implement each. The Mushroom Forest is a lit area, offering open paths, an ancient ruined temple, and a side path leading to an overhang trapped in the dark. I think this would be a great spot for an NPC. The other area is what will link every major area, and these are the tunnels, a winding maze where the dark entraps you. Soon I'll add a regional boss that only attacks you if you're in the dark without your lamp for too long, acting as an eventual final challenge to the area. To help in the tunnels, I'm working on a marker system, where players can drop editable signs to write and edit notes. These are a limited supply that a player can slowly find more of, adding to that sense of resource management. I should also mention that the fuel that lights your lantern is the same fuel that lets you use your spells. I'm happy with this system, but I do think it'll be a challenge to balance it properly. I'm excited to have these tunnels lead to a multitude of secret items, a couple hidden bosses, and new areas, hopefully giving that feeling of lost exploration that I especially feel in games like Kingsfield 4. I've always loved the Kingsfield and Souls games, and wanted to try to capture that feeling of exploration that they gave, especially in games like Dark Souls 1 and the prior mentioned Kingsfield 4. Recent games like Lunacid and Dread Delusion have also been big inspirations for me, and I'm excited to keep expanding on this world. Currently, I plan on this area becoming the first layer, with players slowly descending further and further into this world. Enemies will also behave differently depending on the area they're in, and I intend on having them either actively chase the player, act passively, or ambush them from the shadows. Thank you for watching this video about my little game. It's come further than I thought in just a couple of months, and I'm excited to continue working on it. It's been a challenge, but a rewarding one, with the hardest thing not being to halt development completely by getting stuck writing lore and dialogue. I have to force myself not to touch any writing until the core mechanics are in. Add to that, I hope the game will be easy to scale once the core is done, as I've built everything with an orthogonal approach, hopefully allowing me to expand the world and gameplay without having to rewrite the code of any of the old systems. It'll be exciting to see if this project can live up to my final vision. Again, thank you for watching.